Rush versus Pink Floyd. Although these two bands were never really considered prog rock, in the same vein as Yes, Genesis, King Crimson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Jethro Tull, they still wrote complex music and pushed the boundaries. When I think of Rush, to me they always seem a little bit more rock than prog. And Pink Floyd always seem a little bit more prog than rock. So let's dive into this epic face-off and see who comes out on top. We look at their history, their albums, their songs, what makes their fans so passionate, and by the end, I'll reveal who is my personal favourite. So let's get started at the beginning. Pink Floyd formed in London, England in 1965. The original lineup featured Syd Barrett, Roger Waters on bass, Richard Wright on keyboards, and Nick Mason on drums. After Barrett left in 1968, David Gilmour stepped in, and the band's sound evolved into the legendary psychedelic and progressive music that we know today. Meanwhile, over in Toronto, Canada, Rush formed in 1968, with Geddy Lee on vocals and bass, Alex Lifeson on guitar, and John Rutsey on drums. Neil Peart famously joined in 1974, transforming the band into the prog rock powerhouse that would define their legacy. Both bands had long, impressive careers. Pink Floyd released 15 studio albums, starting with Piper at the Gates of Dawn in 1967 and ending with The Endless River in 2014. Rush released 19 studio albums, from Rush in 1974 all the way to Clockwork Angels in 2012. Now let's talk about the best albums. And yes, this is where the debate gets heated. For Pink Floyd, fans usually rally around three masterpieces: Dark Side of the Moon in 1973, Wish You Were Here in 1975, and The Wall, released in 1979. These albums didn't just sell millions. They defined entire eras. Rush, on the other hand, had its own holy trinity. 2112, released in 1976, Permanent Waves, released in 1980, and Moving Pictures, released in 1981. Each of these albums showcase their evolution from raw power to refined complexity. Let's talk about some of the most iconic songs from these two giants. Pink Floyd brought us classic songs like Comfortably Numb, Wish You Were Here, Time, Money, and Another Brick in the Wall. Their songs blended emotion, atmosphere, and lyrical depth that really make you feel every note. Rush, meanwhile, hit us with songs like Tom Sawyer, The Spirit of Radio, Limelight, Subdivisions, and one of my personal favourites, the instrumental La Villa Strangiato. Rush's music is tighter, faster, more intricate, and lyrically they explore individuality, freedom, and self-discovery. Both bands have built massive and loyal fan bases. Pink Floyd fans love the emotional storytelling, philosophical lyrics, and larger-than-life concerts. Their live tours, such as The Wall, became the stuff of legends. And Rush fans, well, they're a breed of their own. Fiercely devoted, often musicians themselves, and united by a deep appreciation for technical skill and musical complexity. Rush was never a radio hit band, but they didn't need to be. Their fans stuck with them for decades. Alright, let's try to put some order on the chaos. So here's my totally subjective ranking breakdown. In terms of songwriting depth, I have to give this one to Rush. Neil Peart was a philosopher with a keen interest in politics and history, and from the second album onward, we can see that throughout Rush's lyrical themes. The next category is technical musicianship, and again, I feel Rush excel in this area. The music is more complex, it's faster, they make more use of odd time signatures, and all in all, I think they're more accomplished musicians. In terms of emotional impact, I have to give it to Pink Floyd on this one, particularly songs such as Comfortably Numb and Wish You Were Here. And to me, the guitar solo on Comfortably Numb, played by Dave Gilmour, is one of the best guitar solos of all time. In terms of live performances, I haven't actually been lucky enough to see either of these bands in full live. I've seen Roger Waters on tour in 2018, and his show was breathtaking, and the sound was absolutely immaculate. I'm hoping to see Rush next year or the year after if they return to Europe as a two-piece with backing members, but from watching many DVDs and live performances, it seems to me that Rush really put the rock into prog rock, so they're getting the nod in this category. In terms of concept albums, I think Pink Floyd have achieved more. Wish You Were Here, Animals, Dark Side of the Moon, and The Wall, to name but a few of the best concept albums of all time. So that's 3 points for Rush and 2 points for Pink Floyd. Both bands are legendary, but in very different ways. Pink Floyd created experiences, but Rush created masterpieces of precision. So for me, my favourite has to be Rush. There's just something about the chemistry of the musicians playing together, Geddy's soaring vocals and bass lines, the inventive guitar work from Alex Lifeson, and the mind-bending drumming and lyrics lyrics from Neil Peart. Rush combined brains, heart, and pure musical power. But in the end, this isn't really a competition. It's a celebration of two bands that shaped rock music in completely different yet equally important ways. So what about you? Are you on Team Rush or Team Pink Floyd? Drop your favourite band and also your favourite album and your favourite song in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit the like button. And if you could also subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.